Nope. Do I need them? Oh, I see. Are we are we still Dos Anjos versus Usman on our title?
No, we don't have any title. Oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't even do that. Yep.
Yeah, if you want to change that, I'll put it in the article. I'll post the article.
Yep. MMASucka's weekend recap. So, what happened in your guys' boys' life? Just so while I'm fucking fixing this shit, like we can have a little bit of a filler. You guys have anything interesting going on at all?
In life or in
Life,
relation to combat sports?
life, and relation to combat sports. Yeah, whatever. Whatever you feel is, whatever you feel is relevant.
Patrick, you got anything?
No, not really. I mean, I'm still my car got destroyed on Wednesday, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But other than that, no, not. I played a lot of Smash Brothers.
The new one?
Yeah,
Is it good?
it's pretty phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
I like not the first one, but the GameCube one. The GameCube one was insane.
Melee is the best one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep, Melee.
Although I will say, this is the first one since Melee that I may say is either at that level or maybe just a little bit better.
You think so?
Yeah, it plays just like Melee. It's kind of crazy.
I thought that I thought the ones that were on the Wii were kind of shit because of the controllers, excuse me. I wasn't a big fan of like the fucking, even if you had to use that little stick, even if you use it as a normal controller, like I feel like the GameCube controller was so much better.
Yeah, they had an adapter for the Wii ones that you could use
Yeah.
game controllers from. So that same adapter works on the Switch, which is great. Costs like $10 or something. Then you can use GameCube controllers to play the Switch one, which is phenomenal.
Okay. So Ed, you had nothing happen in your life? I mean, I don't know if you want to get into this massive car crash that you were in, Patrick, but that was pretty fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it basically was just like I don't know how it happened, but a semi somehow went down the wrong exit, and they still don't know exactly where he crossed over, but then was driving on the wrong side of the highway and just hit a school bus head on.
Hit a school bus head on. Jesus. I thought I dodged a school bus and then hit another semi. Jesus Christ.
No, it straight up hit like a school bus head, like the you know those little stop signs that like come out that say like you can't pass the school bus, like everything in front of the school bus was just shredded.
Oof.
And I guess like luckily the kids on the bus were all like hanging out in the back of the bus because it was like a junior high like girls volleyball meet or something.
Damn. Junior high could have been fucked up.
Yeah. No kids died miraculously, but like it was just an insane accident. And then some semi, because of the accident, like decided to just back up on the highway unprompted and just completely run into my car and smash it and then drive off.
Damn. Oh, so you weren't like directly involved in like the actual connecting of cars when it happened. It was more so like someone was just fucking being a dumbass trying to avoid it and they hit you.
Yeah. It was more like on the other side, like I was going eastbound and they were going westbound, and so like of course the crash was huge and like made a bunch of noise and freaked everyone out.
Yeah.
And then as like the bus kind of slid over to one side, the semi went backwards, and it became a whole thing. So no, yeah, it wasn't the direct accident, thank goodness, but it was because of it, and I'm sure there was some other car that got dinged up too. I'm sure, but it just, it was nuts. It was insane.
I don't know what state you're in, but does your state require you have car insurance?
Yeah, in Illinois.
Yeah.
Or that's at least where the accident happened. They require it, but like since the guy drove off, I'm trying to get the.
He drove off? He hit and run you?
Yeah.
They have traffic cams though on the highway, right?
No, not on this part of it. But there was a cop right there who was like I got out of my car and tried to like run him down a little bit, and he just drove off. And then as I turned around, a cop was beeping at me to like get out of the road.
Yeah.
So I got out of the way thinking he was going to go after the semi, but then he went up to the main accident. So just got to find like the right cop car's dash cam because he'll have that semi's info.
Oh, yeah, that car, the cop car that was like, yelling at you to get out of the way.
Yeah. Because he drove right behind the semi to get up to the main accident. So it's just a matter of like getting all that stuff. But it's just been lots of phone calls and annoyingness. But I'm just thankful I'm all right because it was like blink of an eye, all this shit went down. It was just like whoa.
Yeah, and we're glad you're all right too because that was when you first posted that I was like, oh Jesus Christ, like what the fuck happened?
Yeah, no, it was insane. It was like the sound of that bus and just all the other stuff going on was just outrageous. Like,
yeah, man, I can't even imagine that. So we've been in here for a little bit. Guess we could get right into the fights, right? So I mean, what do we want to talk about here? I guess we could go open game. I don't specifically remember what we planned. What we're gonna do? I don't even know if we did plan anything, but
I had a plan.
Okay, Ed, what's your plan?
My plan is we start with UFC 231 and just run from bottom to top, and if something is not interesting, we just won't talk about it at all. We'll skip over the stuff we don't want to talk about.
How about this? Can I revise the plan? Can we go main card? No? Okay. Well, I was thinking we go main card, and then if there was anything interesting from the earlier fights, then we could go back to it instead of blatantly saying, oh, yeah, these things were not interesting, so we're not talking about them.
Maybe I reserve my right to still say things weren't interesting on the main card.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
I'll do it.
But like we can just go slowly. We can go like skim, we can go skim by.
Sure.
So I don't have here. I'll pull up the fight card on my phone right here. So I know.
Thiago Santos, Jimmy Manuwa.
That was a crazy fight. That was a crazy fucking fight. I didn't watch the entirety of the fight. I didn't watch the ending, so I don't even know what happened. I don't even know who won. But Ed, give us your take on that, no, I don't. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have no clue who won. I'm not even gonna guess. Ed, give us your take on this because Thiago Santos is your boy. I mean, I know you think he's a bum, kinda, but he's your boy.
A lot of my boys are bums. Thiago Santos is a middleweight who went light heavyweight. Actually, on our article for this stream, I have a little list of topics here for Thiago Santos ahead. Did Thiago Santos get any better, or is 205 just bad? Because he's beating who is considered a top 10 contender at light heavyweight, who is Jimmy Manuwa. I actually was listening to Heavy Hands, I think it was, and they were talking about Jimmy Manuwa and a bunch of other British fighters, and that this group of British fighters...
Whoa. Chill out on the criticism of British fighters here. My boy Mike Akadeo just had a fucking, he just had his shit. He just had some shit going down, like his last fight was on Cage Warriors. So be careful how you phrase this next part.
Well, it's probably not even going to apply to Mike Akadeo, honestly.
Okay.
So it's like Dan Hardy, Paul Daly, Michael Bisping, like all of these British fighters came onto the scene and were just like clocking dudes because they threw left hooks. And MMA didn't know what left hooks were for a long time. So all these dudes were just getting ready for jab overhand. And lo and behold, a left hook. And just the British fighters were knocking people out for a while. because no one could deal with a left hook. Inexplicably, Jimmy Manuwa got away from his stalk and left hook policy in this fight. Even more funny than that, though, is Thiago Santos actually, after the fight, said that they had a game plan, and right before he walked out, he threw it out the window and said he was just going to brawl with him.
Yeah, of course.
It worked beautifully, honestly. I have no regrets in those terms, but Thiago Santos is a weird fighter because sometimes he can be like a glidey, semi-graceful kickboxer
No, yeah,
who
definitely.
kicks really freaking hard and melted Anthony Smith's organs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connor. But yeah, he just decided just to swing his hands, and Jimmy Manuwa has terrible defense, and he's kind of slow, and it's light heavyweight, so he knocked him out. It was awesome.
I don't know how you guys. Sorry, I'm jumping before you get in there, Pat. But I don't know how you guys feel about Jimmy Manuwa. Like, he's older, and he does not have great mileage on his chin left. I'll say that to be nice, you know.
Never did.
Yeah, I can't remember when he was in the UFC and had a good chin. I can't even remember that.
I don't think he's ever had a good chin, and I think that light heavyweight has been so barren of anyone that could expose that until the last three up and comers. I mean, his last losses are to Vulcan, which was a new guy, Thiago, who moved up, and then Yan. I mean, I always butcher his name. Blachowicz, is that it?
Blachowicz.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever his name is. He's kind of reinvented himself a little bit and made kind of a resurgence.
Because he can box.
Yeah. And
it's very important in this division.
Yeah, I mean, in this division, that's what it all comes down to, right? Like, what does it say that two guys that couldn't really crack the top 15 of the weight class before are now both in the top 5 and arguably going to get, title shots? Like, people want to talk about dissolving 170 and making 165 and 175 and taking care of the flyweight division. Like, think about dissolving light heavyweight because it's so sad. Like, there's the people like Shogun, mind you, he had an amazing performance his last time out, but the fact that Shogun Hua is still a relevant name in that division speaks just volumes into how much there's just no depth there.
That's the good kind of sad, though. Like, Thiago Santos moving up and knocking out Jimmy Manuwa, like, Shogun still being around and getting wins. That's the good kind of sad. I'm okay with that kind of sad.
Right.
Honestly, Anthony Smith is the worst kind of sad. Like, when you watch Uzdemir and Smith, that fight, and you're like, you're both kind of bad. Honestly, and this is who we're talking about for title contenders. So to answer my own question of did Thiago Santos get better or is 205 just bad, he didn't get any better. Anthony Smith didn't get any better. And if anything, Thiago Santos might have gotten a little worse. He fought worse in this fight than he does normally. And like he said himself, he didn't have a game plan anymore and just wanted to throw hands, which I respect. But no, 205 is bad, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
I think a problem with 205 is that historically it was one of the best divisions in the UFC for a long time. So, just for me personally, I think it's hard for even me to say cut 205 because that's where the stars used to all be, 205.
Yeah, no, heavyweight and 205 used to be the crown jewels of the organization.
Heavyweight is a little bit different because heavyweight was like, I don't know what particular time you're talking about, but heavyweight obviously in the beginning, and it was like either you're above 200 pounds in your heavyweight or you're below 200 pounds in your lightweight.
Right. I guess I'm thinking more about Kane, Dos Santos, those like when they went on their crazy, like, I mean, they, that was where, Brock obviously and Mir,
I submit Brock was not a good MMA fighter.
No, not at all. Like, he's better than people give him credit. It's usually people think he's way too good and they're overrating him, or they think he's way too bad and underrating him. He's decent. I mean, he can beat some guy. He's got wrestling ability and he's got enough striking ability that he can beat some guys, but he's not anything special when it comes to MMA.
Even his wrestling is mostly just him being a better athlete than most of the guys he's competing against. That's how it was in the NCAA too. He was just a monster with a double leg. He wasn't actually particularly good at wrestling. just kind of a monstrosity in a bad division, which is what happened in MMA as well, and it works. I did not like how in his return fight against Mark Hunt, he was trying to do MMA, but he was also like 300 pounds, like completely shredded. So I'm like, this doesn't count. This is not your return fight where you show us all you have skills. Like this, it didn't count at all. So not sold on Brock having any skills. Although he threw an inside leg kick a few times. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
I mean,
I don't know why we're talking about Brock.
That's what classifies you as a great MMA fighter. I'm pretty sure is your ability to throw that inside leg kick. So,
It's something.
Darren the Damage Elkins, it's one of his favorite moves. So, I'm just saying, one of the best. But let's not digress into that.
No. We want to keep this a little bit short and sweet, but.
So we're done with that fight?
We got a little bit. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight.
Me and Hakeem.
Oh, yeah, Hakeem versus Kyle Bochniak. Obviously Kyle Bochniak is from my area, and I don't want to be unfair to him, but
do it, Brian.
But his performance was not indicative of someone who belongs on a main card pay-per-view. He had that performance against what's his face, Zabit, which was like he lost, and he lost by unanimous decision, but he showed intangibles. He didn't necessarily show skill or good boxing, something that would kind of think, hey, maybe this guy has can maybe crack out a spot in the top 15, then maybe edge it out.
He didn't show bad boxing though, which is more important.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, like well, it wasn't nothing special. Only the great things he showed in that fight were the heart and tenacity and the forward pressure. But Zabit was giving him that. It was giving him the ring generalship there. So it's sad to see, I guess, because based on where he was in this card and based on who he's fighting, Hakeem Dawodu, who's an up and coming prospect for them, the guy who they've put in good spots promotion wise, just on the card. It shows what they kind of thought of him, what his potential might be. So this was not a good performance, in my opinion, by Kyle Bochniak. Pretty much got dominated for 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'd say this. I'm with you completely in that this was kind of the promotion saying, all right, you had an amazing, fight against a real up and coming, dangerous guy. Didn't get finished. Let's see how you perform on the main stage. And I think he kind of blew it. He didn't look anything like the fighter that went up against Zabit, and he didn't put on a performance where it's like, oh, I got to see him on the next, pay-per-view card. I mean, he kind of lost his shot there. I don't think he did so poorly that they won't give him another down the line, especially if he can repeat something close to the Zabit performance. But it's a setback from him just from how the promotion is going to view him, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Ed? I'm going to guess you're going to say this was not interesting to you. So,
well,
what do you think?
I wanted it to be interesting to me just because I love Hakeem Dawodu. I wrote about him before his debut fight, actually.
Yeah.
He's a great Muay Thai fighter. He stops people with leg kicks in Muay Thai, so obviously he's my boy, big time.
Yeah.
Big time boy. Yeah. But, he had a cold before this fight. All right, he was battling a cold all week. Is the quote. So I'm not going to hold this performance against him. I'm just going to say good win, good job. Let's move on and punch some bodies and kick some legs next time.
I don't want to be a dick here again. I'm going to
go with Brad.
But the thing is, like, I do understand that even if you have a little thing, like I had my wisdom teeth surgery last week and I went into the gym and I move like shit. Like I'm on antibiotics and I haven't done anything since last Thursday, like anything, no working out or anything, and I moved around like shit. Just obviously I'm new, I'm a beginner, and I suck at everything, but I couldn't even move. That's like what I'm good at, is moving around. So I do understand that even if you have like a small little thing, it's gonna affect you in a big way. But I don't know how I feel about a cold being something as an excuse. I don't know if it's a good excuse, is what I'm trying to say.
We don't really know what he means by that.
Yeah.
It could really be anything, illness-wise. Maybe his nose was all stuffed. I don't know.
He could be playing it down. Yeah.
You never know. I mean...
Could be tuberculosis. Who knows?
Yeah.
Can you see my foot right now?
I can't see you at all.
Okay, good. Because my foot is disgusting right now. I didn't want to show that. All right, next fight, boys.
Gunnar.
This fight was, I was pissed that I missed it. So I won't really get too much into it, but from the few seconds like I tuned in and saw it for, like, amazing fight. What do you boys got in this?
Patrick.
Oh, I mean, I agree. It was crazy. I think I think a lot of people were writing Gunnar off, myself included. I thought he kind of lost a step. I thought Oliveira had shown some things in his last few fights where he was going to end up with a knockout or at least a decision. But it was a crazy fight. Oliveira is slowly becoming one of my favorite fighters just because win or lose, he's put on some fantastic performances.
He's a more talented, like, Darren Elkins.
Well, let's not
Except
go
for, I mean, it's a completely different style. The
Much
style
less
is totally
durable.
different, but he always comes to fight.
Right. He always comes to fight. I think he looks so much. I think he's had kind of a career resurgence since he's moved up to welterweight and really stayed there. I think the biggest thing that I had forgotten about, honestly, because it'd been so long, was Gunny's ground and pound. Like, man, it'd been a long time since you'd really seen him work someone on the ground like that. And he just, 29 stitches to Oliveira is no small feat. So
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was definitely in the running for fight of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ed, what do you got here, boy?
I'm gonna shout out Heavy Hands again. They just had great quotes all this week. They're talking about Alex Cow. What's up?
Are they paying you?
I wish. But no, they were talking about Alex Cowboy's wrestling game. Basically that he developed one, but essentially what he did was he wrestles enthusiastically, is what they said, which I loved, but not necessarily well. His takedown defense has never really been there. Like, if you remember, I was actually there live when he fought normal Cowboy, American Cowboy, and got doubled and insta-submitted. It was pretty quick. So I kind of figured there was a chance for that, but also Alex Cowboy has some Derek Lewis powers in him where he can just get up when he's in a bad position on the ground, which has usually been more of a testament to who he's fighting, like Yancy Medeiros. Let him just get up. So
It's Yancy Medeiros.
I wasn't really confident in Alex Cowboy's ground game. I was
Isn't he a black
confident
belt, though?
in what's up?
Isn't he a black belt?
I'd be shocked. I would be
I
shocked.
thought he had like a pretty advanced belt, and I was like really shocked when I heard that, but I obviously could be very wrong.
Who'd he get it from?
Yeah.
McDonald's? We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gunnar, I was at least impressed with his focus. I don't think he got any better. He didn't really show anything different. Because defense has always been his weakness, and he didn't really have a chance to be defensively weak in this fight. He just got to it, and was shooting doubles right off the bat, which I love from him. He should do that. He recently got into CrossFit, so maybe he's got a little more pop on that.
Quick diversion.
For his
Quick diversion
CrossFit.
here. Oh God. Tacos, bro. You one of your comments got is getting reviewed by YouTube here, so you might want to chill out a little bit. Oh, my.
Is it
camera-
about Alex Cowboy?
Yeah. He said something very derogatory about me comparing Alex Cowboy with Darren Elkins. Oh God, man.
Well, good.
I'm just gonna hide this comment so that Mike doesn't get in any trouble in the future.
I want to see it.
I wanna see it.
Oh no, I can see it. We can see it. I can read it
I'm
out
okay.
loud, but I have to fix my camera real quick. I'll read it out loud while we do that. I forget what I was gonna say before that. I had something to jump in. Oh, CrossFit. A lot of fucking fighters do that. I've always thought CrossFit was the dumbest shit ever, and I don't respect CrossFit. I'm gonna be
Good.
straight up honest here. I don't respect it. What are you guys' takes on CrossFit?
Patrick, do you have a take on CrossFit?
Not really. I don't care for it. I think that a big reason for that is because I don't have great form weightlifting anyway. So if you make me run a bunch and then try and lift stuff, I'm just going to get hurt. The one time I tried to do CrossFit, I think I pulled a muscle. So But I mean, I don't know.
I thought that's normal for CrossFit. Like they want you to like fucking pull muscles and shit.
Yeah, like I don't know. I do not buy into it being the end all be all. Like this is how you get your endurance up, and this is how you know really get healthy, quote unquote, like all around. I don't buy that, but I think it's fine. I mean, I don't know, Ed, what's your take on it?
No, I don't think it's fine at all. I think it's
I think
better
it's yeah.
better than not lifting for sure.
Yeah.
So if you don't lift, you're going to be in much better shape if you do CrossFit, if you survive doing CrossFit. But just watching what they do, I'm like, why are you doing that? It's competitively lifting in the way that other sports are competitive, but with weights, and just like making up new ways to almost kill yourself lifting weights, which is a sport in its own. You know, there's a large element of danger attached, so I don't think they advertise. I think more and dumber people would get into it if they really talked about like you could squash your head with really heavy weights. That could totally happen, but they don't really let people into that part. So Gunnar Nelson, I thought he was smarter than that, but maybe he wasn't lifting weights before. Now he's lifting weights, and this is a fun way for him to lift, and it's changing him athletically.
How is it fun? I don't understand the whole thing. Like the way they're making you move is like it's gotta be fucking up your tendons, your ligaments, and your joints. There's no way you can tell me otherwise. I'm blanking on what their exercises are, but they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. There's no way that you can come out being a 60-year-old guy, like after doing a lifetime of CrossFit, and have like a functioning body without arthritis, without having a fucking like scoliosis either. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. How people could just be like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm in the best shape ever.
Do you think MMA fighters are trying to have functioning bodies when they're 60?
I would think that someone who's going to get punched in the face or potentially submitted at any turn would be a lot more careful with the way they prepare for a fight or prepare their bodies. You know what I mean? Like, if you're already going to get fucked up when you go work, like, why would you just continually fuck yourself up when you're training for that work? I mean, obviously sparring, but, like, I'm talking about weightlifting specifically.
I gotta jump in here though because clearly Darren the Damage Elkins has proven that the more fucked up you get, the better you could do long term. So I think maybe there's something to that. You go the completely opposite direction far enough, maybe you come back around the other side. You end up.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. All right. You guys have any?
We can move on.
You guys got any closing thoughts on?
I got one.
On this fight or CrossFit?
I got one on the fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all you, Ed.
It was really similar to Damian Maia versus Gunnar Nelson. What Maia did to Nelson is very similar to what Nelson did to Alex Cowboy. The way he bloodied him up and beat his ass.
Okay.
Excuse my language.
Yeah, I've been swearing nonstop, so.
I'm a professional.
I don't think that. Yeah, well, clearly I'm not. Clearly I'm not. An hour late, and we're about to jump into a little bit of overtime here. So I guess we'll move on to the co-main event. This fight, obviously, Shevchenko versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, kind of went the way I thought it would. Didn't really see I don't know. The size is definitely a massive factor. When you just look at them standing next to each other, Joanna is not the same physique as Shevchenko. And what way could she win the fight? Does she have better submission skills? No. Does she have better Muay Thai? No. So basically, she would just have to get lucky and knock her out. And how many girls has she knocked out with one punch? I don't think she's ever knocked out anyone with one punch. So, the last girl I can remember she knocked out was Carla Esparza when she won the title. Excuse me if I forgot one in between there, but that was an accumulation of blows on the fence. That wasn't a real KO.
I think they stopped the Penne fight, but not from strikes specifically.
Just like being fucked up.
Yeah, I think her face was all destroyed and cut up.
Yeah.
Did they stop the Letourneau fight too?
Let's check.
Well, I don't think so.
Okay. No, that one with the distance. I mean, Valor was bloodied up, but Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, she finished Penne. It says TK. I don't buy that, but she definitely finished Penne.
I one last thing for me. I think that downvoted. Mike downvoted us, but
not surprising.
the thing about Joanna is like people say she has amazing MMA striking. She really doesn't have very good MMA striking, and she was beating up Joanna, and she was beating up girls. You don't think so? I was just talking to my coach about this.
Relative to what?
Obviously, relative to the divisions that she's in, she has very good striking, but relative to MMA striking and striking in general, she doesn't have very good striking. And she was beating up girls at 115 that were her same size and had way worse striking than her. So, like Penne, Letourneau, Esparza, those girls don't have great striking. Letourneau is known for striking, but she doesn't have that good MMA striking either. So it made so much sense to me the way that this fight played out, and this is what I picked. So I guess, like, what did you guys pick for the winner of this fight? And you can go into your takes. So you've made Pat go first a bunch of times, Ed, so it's your turn. Let's see what you got.
I didn't really think too hard about this fight just because I knew it wasn't going to be very fun. It didn't seem interesting to me, honestly, because when Valentina wins, if it's not lopsided, it's really just her waiting on people and drawing them in and countering a little bit and then getting away with that one counter, and then maybe a minute later she'll counter them again. I do like when she's like foot sweeping people and getting sweeps in the clinch and doing work on the ground. I do enjoy that, but otherwise I don't really like watching Valentina fight. I do like watching Joanna fight when she's styling on somebody, which is usually when they're coming at her, which was not going to happen in this fight. So I was like, So I actually didn't watch it.
Okay, so you pulled a me on this one. You did not watch it.
Yeah. I knew it wasn't going to be good. I didn't watch it.
Did you? I didn't see your pick. I'm guessing you picked Shevchenko and.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I went with my heart, and I picked Joanna.
Why was your heart for Joanna?
She's fun. She's a fun time.
She's a fun
for the whole family.
Yeah. I mean, Pat. I'll ask this question after Pat goes. What was your what was your thoughts on the fight? Did you watch it first of all? Second, what was your pick? Third, what's your take?
All right, so yes, first of all, I did watch the fight because, I'm a professional. So Second of all, my pick was Valentina by unanimous decision, which I think played out pretty much the exact way I thought as well. I actually really enjoyed this fight just because.
What a nerd.
Yeah, I know, right? Doing a live show where 4 people are watching, talking about MMA.
Dude, we'll get like 45 by the time it goes all the way up.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. I bet we get 50, but we could talk about that later. But regardless, I thought it was very interesting because, I thought there was no way that Valentina didn't just time her all day, which she did. But Joanna is all about volume, and Joanna actually got off more strikes, not significant strikes, but total overall strikes than Valentina did. Which, watching that fight, you might not. It was a closer margin than I thought, but you might not necessarily see that, especially in some of the rounds. And I think it speaks to how good of a counter striker Valentina is. Some of her wins have come where her opponent has, technically landed, I want to say 150% more strikes than her in some of these. Looking through some of these past ones, she's usually lower volume, except for Nunes, and then of course that beat down she did in her flyweight debut.
Yeah.
But I thought this was kind of a clinic where Brian, you pointed out that Joanna's striking was not that good in MMA. I think Valentina's striking is actually pretty good overall in terms of, especially in the women's division. I think it's the best in terms of counters by far. And then across all women's divisions, I would say. And then with just her technique is spot on. Like it's a rare talent. I think she's gonna reign at 125 for a long time, and I think she goes up to 135, and I think she probably beats Nunes in a rematch. Although then again, I scored that for Shevchenko in the first place. But yeah that's
I don't know how
This,
she can beat the top of the division at bantamweight, but I don't know how she does against like the big girls because Nunes is a big girl at 35. It's probably her perfect weight class. But
you can't say that, Brian.
I can't say what.
You can't call girls big.
Okay, I can do whatever I want. All right, I'm running the stream. I'm the host. All right, boy.
You're a tyrant.
Whatever. She's a well-fit girl for 135 pounds. How's that sound? So I don't think Valentina. She looks like a 125er. Like that seems like her perfect weight class. Obviously, there's a lot. But like I said, even if she fought like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see her being Nunes is my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. I don't see her being Nunes. Those were close. That was a close fight. Even the first fight was a close fight too, with Shevchenko coming in late. But I just think that the size and strength is a big problem for her when she fights Nunes. So if it was the only way I could see her going up back to bantamweight is if she has like 3 or 4 defenses and then Nunes beats Cyborg. Then you have a big fight right there. You could call Nunes the best female fighter best UFC female fighter of all time if she beats, if she beats Cyborg, because that's
reasonable.
You look at her list. Yeah, she beat Miesha Tate very easily. She beat Ronda Rousey very easily. Shevchenko twice, and then all the contenders in the 35 division. So.
Steph Katzenegano.
And Alexis Davis.
Yeah. She didn't fight. Okay. Yeah. No. But yeah. So I think you're right. Like it's definitely seems to be like the trends. If you have a dominant champion, pop them up a little bit. And I think it would probably help. People like general casuals kind of maybe move towards the females division and give it a little bit more attention, but. At the end of the day, I don't want to see Shevchenko move up. I just want to see her stay where she is and kind of build the 25 division because it's not very good right now. Like I think Caitlin Chukagian before she lost was like a top 5 fighter in the flyweights, right? And then Jessica Jessica's pretty good, I guess, but she's like a number 1 contender?
Nah.
She's the number 1 contender. She's the number 1 contender. So
well, it's her.
That's an indictment of the division.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's her or Alexis Davis, honestly, probably at this point.
Yeah. So I don't how. I mean, I think I forgot what I was going to say to Ed before, but yeah. What do you guys think about? I mean, I do, but that wasn't what I wanted to say. What do you guys think about? Say Shevchenko gets a couple more defenses. What do you think about her moving up? Do you like that idea, moving up to 35 and fighting Nunes for a 3rd time?
I love it. Just, again, because I thought she won that fight. Again, the rematch. I mean, it wasn't the most exciting fight, that's for sure. But regardless, if Shevchenko, you've got that very contentious split decision. And if Shevchenko can reign supreme on 125 for a couple defenses, clearly show that she's way better than everyone there, Nunes can, keep doing her thing and rolling at 135, then I think, especially a thing that I think you're going to see more and more is if they fight for a 3rd time, they're both going to be a lot more aggressive than they were their 2nd fight.
Don't count on it.
I doubt that. I don't know. That's hard to say. A lot of people usually are less aggressive when they fight more times down the road.
Normally, I'd say yes, but if you look at, and I guess when I say more aggressive, I think Nunes would be a little bit more timid, but I think Shevchenko would pull the trigger faster. Just because if you look at their first fight, where it was, clearly a 29-28 Nunes' decision, and she kind of gassed, she was the more aggressive one. In the second fight, you could tell Shevchenko was being timid, but she was still coming out more aggressive than she normally does because she couldn't counterpunch. I think if she goes up, if she gets the opportunity to beat Nunes, then again, I think she will train in a way where she knows she's going to have to be aggressive. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it could
I
end up.
hope so.
I think the
That'd be
problem.
nice.
I think the problem with being aggressive against Nunez is like she's like I don't know. She's much better. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a huge asshole, but she's much better fighting in the first couple rounds, like especially the first round. So if you're very aggressive with her in the first round, you're opening yourself up a little bit. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like if you strategize a little better and maybe try to gas her out in the first couple rounds and bring her into deep waters and then try to push her at the very end, that might be an effective strategy. I think that would be actually a very effective strategy. But
She kept a decent pace against Rocky P. Against Pennington.
yes,
She
yeah,
held pretty steady.
But
Yeah,
she wasn't getting really pushed.
I think a
but
fact.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think a big fact in that fight was that Pennington was just done. She was done in like the fourth round. So, what were you gonna say, Pat? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, I mean, I think her cardio is improved, at least compared to where it was. But I agree completely in that. I think that's the exact game plan Valentina would go for, with just baiting her in to try and get counters in the first couple rounds, trying to get Nunez to use up some more gas, and then in the third through fifth rounds coming out aggressive and hard, going at it. Because I think the more aggressive you are with Nunez, if you can survive that initial onslaught, the more successful you tend to be. I mean, whether or not that holds true now compared to her last losses, it's hard to say because that's been so long. But where she got knocked out by Alexis Davis and Zingano, that was definitely the case. So, I also would love to see a Zingano Nunez.
Yeah.
I think that might be on the cards at some point, which would be great. But I think they will for sure, as long as Nunez continues to win, because I'm pretty confident Valentina is going to hold that belt for a long time. I think they will for sure do a super fight between the two. I think it's just a matter of time.
I mean, to kind of correct myself here, I don't think I'm not necessarily saying that her cardio is the main issue with Nunez. She's had that talk about like that sinusitis thing, and I just know from me athletically, like I have problems with my sinuses, and it's so hard when you're low on gas. It's so hard to keep pushing at a higher percentage of output. So she definitely has, like, I'm sure she has a fine. Oh, the complete knockouts in the chat, boys. I don't know. Should I know who the complete knockout is? I don't.
It's Sasha.
Oh shit. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. That. Wow. Yeah. So much for trying not to sound like an asshole. But
You're doing great, buddy.
yeah. Well, what was I saying? The science is definitely is what was probably her problem early on. Like I doubt she was not going into the cage, fighting the top contenders in the UFC bantamweight division without good cardio. I highly doubt that. You have to be really dumb to be fighting the top of one of those divisions and not be working your cardio. But I mean, yeah, like on that Rocky fight, she did show that her output can be there in the later rounds. But again, I think it has to do with how she was being pushed in that fight, and I don't necessarily know if you get Shevchenko, who has the confidence and has a aggressive style later in the rounds. I don't know how well she would do. Okay, so with that, we will move on to the final fight. The only reason why I went on that little rant there is because I totally forgot what I was saying after just being a huge asshole to Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sasha. I'm sorry.
He deserved it.
I'm sorry. Final fight. This legitimately, it's hard to say fight of the year because we were talking about this in the chat, like, and I was talking with a bunch of other people. Like, it was a beatdown. There was a couple moments where Ortega, the main event, Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. There were a couple moments in that fight where Ortega caught Max, but it wasn't. It was single shots. It wasn't combinations of strikes that Max was just piecing Ortega up on. So it's definitely a contender for me for fight of the year, but basically a one-sided dominant performance that shows you how not only how good Max Holloway is, but how far he's come. I think next around like in his near future, if this would be allowed, I guess, is Max versus Conor rematch. I think that's the fight we need to see in the future, next to either Max Ferguson or Max Khabib. I think Max Khabib, Max Ferguson probably happens first, depending on who has the title there. But I think that Max Holloway was not only an exciting prospect when he first got in the UFC, but he's improved leagues beyond what he was when he first got here.
No.
No?
No to lightweight matchups already.
I'm not saying right now. I'm not saying do him right now. I'm talking about in the next couple of years.
Well, where is Conor going to be in a couple of years? Where is he now? You know what I mean? So let's not even project into the future with Conor McGregor. But Max Holloway,
Yeah, go ahead.
at featherweight, just before we even get into the contenders conversation, this is just my thoughts on it. I think he should fight Moicano, and I think he should fight the winner of Mendez-Volkanovski. For people who are like, oh yeah, Zabit and Yair are contenders. No, they're not. He can avoid them, but that's fine with me. He'd beat him up pretty bad. Neither of them can box. That's what Max does best. Not close. I'd like to see Mendez. I say Mendez-Volkanovski winner just because he has a fight. I don't really care to see him with Volkanovski. I'd rather see Mendez. And I think Mendez will win that fight, so it's fine. But yeah, Moicano I definitely want to see. And that's really it at featherweight. And because it's just those two, why not just do those fights and let lightweight play out a little bit and then move up. And if he's really not having a hard time with the weight cut, which I believe him, I guess, he could be lying. If he's really not having that tough a time, but if it's not killing him, it probably is. He had a freaking stroke. But if it's not inducing strokes and he can survive the weight cuts, 2 more I think will be totally fine. He's a great matchup for everyone at lightweight, minus Kevin Lee. You know, I'm a Kevin Lee stan. I think he beats all those guys probably. But
I think
do you want to talk about the fight?
Pieces up Kevin Lee.
Nah.
What do you mean, dude?
Nah.
I don't know what you're talking about there. Kevin Lee was like piecing up Ferguson, but he never dropped him. Staff. Yeah.
Staff.
Yeah, sure.
No staff. Kevin Lee is unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think Iaquinta might take him, but
false.
Yeah, that's not false either. I think Iaquinta is very vulnerable in his wrestling. I thought before the Khabib fight that Iaquinta had like underrated wrestling, good counter wrestling too, but I doubt his wrestling is good enough to even like threaten Khabib Max to get him down.
And a thing that I noticed in this Max Ortega fight, besides the ridiculous dominance and just how many strikes did he throw? 400 some in 4 rounds, something crazy like that.
Not enough, apparently. Not enough for Henry Gracie.
Apparently not.
He wanted 400 more.
But I think there are some interesting matchups for him at featherweight. I think Moicano for sure is a fight that should happen. I like the idea of the winner versus Chad and Volkanovski. I even kind of like if Edgar gets back on the hump, I'd like to see it.
Nope.
I mean, I think Holloway gets him, but I would like to see that fight, I guess. But one contender that I think would be very interesting, because in this fight, Ortega, when he was aggressive and landed some shots, he didn't hurt Max, but he was clearly getting the better of Max in some of the exchanges when he could get shots off.
Are you leading up to John Lineker at featherweight?
No. Although that's a great idea. No, I'm actually leading up to if he can get back on the horse and win a couple. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if he had originally fought Edgar and won, I would love to see
Artem Lobov.
No,
You're a genius, Matt.
I mean, we'll see where the GOAT goes. But no, I would love to see Korean Zombie versus Max, because Max is going to throw all those punches, but Zombie's just going to keep walking at him. and just I think he can pressure him enough that it's going to be something new for Max. I still think Max probably wins it, but I would love to see how he deals with somebody who constantly pressures him, since the past 3 performances have all been about range and volume of strikes. Zombie's just going to keep walking. He's going to be like Ortega, except just keep walking, keep throwing. So,
may I comment on that? I think I don't want to say meta game, but just like the finer details of Holloway's game. And I love Zombie with all my heart. I think he freaking smokes him in 1. Seriously, I don't think that even goes very long. And listen, Ortega, for all of his flaws, is pretty good at not getting hit clean in the face. He's not good at getting hit in the face, but clean in the face. Holloway was hitting him clean in the face immediately. As soon as that fight started, he was lighting him up, which is normal for Ortega, but like with power shots. And yeah, I love Zombie, but he's not quite there anymore. Chin-wise, which was his thing before, he's not great at not getting hit. Yair cannot box to save his life, and he was landing as Zombie was coming in with his terrible boxing, and it's just not a thing. Sorry, Zombie, it's not a thing. Zombie, not a thing. Yair, not a thing. I mean, they could both improve dramatically, but I don't think Zombie's improving dramatically. I think he's about where he's going to be.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying, and that could be true, but I think his chin is still there. I mean, it took that crazy elbow in the last second to put him down, and he was eating just shots straight to the face all for 20
But does Yair punch hard, particularly?
I mean, he's got knockouts. He's got a fair amount of knockouts.
With his fists?
With his fists, no, but he ate a lot of leg kicks straight from Yair, like to the head. Like I would say Bobby's chin is still there. I think
That's on Mike Goldberg.
Just saying, I think Zombie still has it. We'll see in his next fight, but
I'd like that, but I don't think it's happening.
I mean, maybe not. We'll see, but I think a crazy pressure fighter that can eat those power shots. Because that 3rd round in particular, when Ortega was finding some success after weathering the storm a little bit, you could tell Max didn't really know what to do because he doesn't normally get in that position. And I think with the right fighter, it might not be Zombie, but I think with the right fighter, he could find himself in a world of hurt. And that might be Moicano, because Moicano has a very solid shot at pulling that off.
Maybe. We won't go too deep into that matchup right now.
Yeah. But
I have thoughts.
Yeah. Quickly though, I want to further defend myself again. I was talking. There are plenty, like you guys just mentioned, Moicano, and Mendez Volkanovski. There are plenty of good contenders in featherweight division, and there's no reason at all that Max Holloway should be moving up right now. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
I was just thinking like. I don't know necessarily if maybe Chad Mendez's wrestling might be something that would be very interesting to see how that plays out.
The whole game with Mendez.
Yeah, because true. I'm just thinking because Max doesn't struggle with counter wrestling, not very much at all. So it'd be interesting to see a better wrestler than Ortega, but worse jiu-jitsu. But still, like you said, it's more of a whole encompassing game with Mendez because in his last fight he KO'd a dude with that kind of mixing of the wrestling and striking too, which was very impressive. So I think the Mendez fight would be very interesting. I'm not too excited about Volkanovski versus Holloway if he wins, but I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
Michael wanted us to talk about this, so I'll segue into it. If Max stayed at featherweight and he beat Moicano and Mendez, he would be the greatest featherweight of all time. He is not currently.
Yeah, I don't think that the Brian Ortega win makes him the greatest of all time. I know, obviously, there's a lot of things we don't agree with Rogan when he's on the commentary team, but this is another thing. He's not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT. He beat Aldo twice, which is Aldo, we all know, is at the end. It's great wins, but he's at the end of his career. It's not prime Aldo. Especially after the Conor fight. That was like a very telltale sign of the end of his prime was there. And then he beats Brian Ortega, who, don't get me wrong, is a very good contender, but I just think that with Brian Ortega, he's young and he wasn't. I don't think he was effectively fighting. I don't think he was fighting to his strengths. I know he likes to think that his boxing is pretty high level, but it's not. He really needs to be kind of pressing the takedown and kind of being in between his shots where he's striking and then shooting, striking and then
That's
shooting.
honestly the biggest problem with his game is he can't actually wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Max saw that takedown coming at all and then just immediately got back to his feet. Like, holding people down is wrestling too. So Ortega really can't wrestle at all. And his game is going to be severely limited if he can't do that. Jeremy Stevens is probably going to knock him out since his entire chin was depleted in this last fight. So I think it might be too late already for Ortega to make these adjustments. He doesn't really seem to have it in him to, I don't know. His boxing improved so much. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he can change his game like that.
I think
I don't know if his chin is gone either. I mean, you'd have to see the next
he's 27.
fight.
He's 27
He
years
ate
old.
all of the punches.
He's 27 years old, bro.
And he ate all the punches.
Well,
I
yeah.
would say if the dude was like 32, like that's a big massive difference, but like your body has an ability to heal pretty well inside its athletic prime, which is before 30.
When you give it time though. So let's say he was concussed somewhere in the third round. He was definitely concussed before that because he was getting nailed. And I just think his chin and his conditioning is in a way where he just wasn't going to get dropped, but he was probably concussed a bunch of times. The amount of times he got hit after being concussed, that's going to screw him up for life. Honestly, that's what gives you CTE. That's what destroys you.
Yeah, I have
is
CTE.
Subconcussive blows, and he took at least 100. That's serious business. That's a career's worth. Most guys, after getting knocked like that, don't get hit many more times. He got hit all the more times, as many times as possible. And if Henry Gracie had his way, it would have been 100 more.
Yeah, he would have got hit 100 more times.
Crazy.
I think that's a good transition for me to jump in here. I know Pat's got something to say. I'll make it real quick, and you can say what you want to say so you don't forget. But I think this is like it's been the talks. There's been a lot of talk around this in the recent months, but I think this is a great poster boy moment for corners getting involved more. What were you going to say, Pat?
I was just going to say that I disagree in terms of saying this is Ortega's. I mean, he can point to so many people that have been through wars like this and then come back and been fine, been contenders.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
never been a beating like this. I think this is one of the worst beatings I've ever seen. Ever.
The Cachoeira beating was pretty fucking bad. That was worse.
No, not even, no.
You don't think that was worse? Cachoeira didn't land a
No.
single strike.
I think she lost worse, but I don't think she got hit as much and by someone who hits as well.
True. Very true.
Mm.
That is very true. I think Max Holloway's. I don't think it's much of a question to say Max Holloway's MMA boxing is leagues ahead of Valentina Shevchenko's MMA Muay Thai or MMA boxing.
Brian, what's going on with your mic?
My mic not working? Or are you looking at the chat?
No, it's happening currently. That same thing.
Huh. Are you listening to the stream or are you listening through this?
This on Skype. You sound good now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So on Skype, it's not using the mic that I'm holding up right now, so you guys might hear me all messed up, but the guys in the stream should be hearing me perfectly fine because I got my nice mic all set up.
Sounds good.
We don't have much time left in this stream. If it was, I would change the input to you guys as this mic, but we don't got a lot of time left.
On that note, can I transition?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, also this weekend, aside from UFC 231, because I wrote in the freaking article that we are going to talk about other things, so we're going to talk about other things.
Okay, don't do
did either of you
that.
watch
We
it?
talked about CrossFit and
Don't-
Darren. I mean,
Yeah, we
what else
did.
we gotta talk about here?
Yeah, what else we got to talk about? Don't bang your table either, though. It's going to shake your camera.
Did either of you guys watch boxing?
Yeah,
Matt, you did?
I didn't watch. To me, I didn't think there was a need to watch this weekend's. Although the highlights and the
Do you think
recaps.
there was a need to watch Lomachenko?
No, he was gonna smoke him. What? I mean, it's a tuna
bro.
fight. You know, like,
I watched Lomachenko. I like fell asleep, honestly.
Oh my god. Who are you?
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of boxing. I'm not a huge fan of boxing.
All right.
I like
Never
boxing.
mind.
I like boxing, but like,
Forget about it.
I think boxing's dumb because boxing, you're basically aiming for the head the entire time, and if I get really close to you, I can't touch you.
Boxing's dumb.
Yeah, I can't touch you. I can't grab you. I can't take you down. What's that all about?
This is a hot take.
If I can,
Boxing.
That is
it's boxing's fight. Like, all right, it's entertaining, definitely. And I watch it, but like, it's definitely very inferior in my mind to wrestling, NCAA wrestling, to MMA, to even pancration style fights.
Well,
Like,
you know I'm not gonna fight with you about that. If you're gonna say wrestling's better.
Well,
Obviously,
I'm telling you, that's what I
about
think.
that.
I think EBI is more fun when they have actually good people fighting on EBI. I think that's better to watch than boxing. I don't think it's impressive to just stand there and see how badly I can get, like how quickly I can get CTE. I don't think it's that impressive, really.
Brian's just out on boxing as a sport.
And the thing is, like, it's not even that I don't like striking. It's I love Muay Thai. I love kickboxing. It's because it's a full encompassing aspect of striking where you can use all of the weapons that you have as a striker, as opposed to boxing where you can use like 5 different punches. That's basically all you can do in boxing is use 5 different punches.
So let's transition again then. I'm not gonna waste your time with stupid boxing.
What's
apparently.
Pat's take? Because I had my take, you had yours. I want to feel unfair here.
Pat, is boxing terrible?
boxing is not terrible. It's
Thank
just
you.
you've got to know what you're signing up for. I mean,
I know what I'm signing up for.
Well, I mean, like we talk about Holloway having, amazing boxing and just beating the shit out of Ortega. But if you were to box almost anyone, like if he's boxed Lomachenko already, like you get pieced up. Like there's a whole, there is an art form to it. I'm with you in terms of, I like it more than wrestling. EBI, I'd probably go with that, but
let me pose this to you. In a real fight, they're not gonna just stand. Like if Max Holloway's girlfriend was getting hit on by Lomachenko at a bar, Max Holloway is not gonna stand there and just box with him with like the official boxing rules. That's not gonna happen. I would watch that too. That'd be a great fight. But like that's not gonna happen. Even if they don't want to pick up props and shit at the bar, then they're gonna be fighting like an MMA style fight. They're gonna be wrestling. They're gonna be clinching a lot. Like there's no guys gonna break them up out of the clinch. There's none of that shit. And I shouldn't even bring up the referee part. But like, you get my point. A real fight is a lot farther away from what boxing is than a lot of the other combat sports.
Oh yeah. I would agree with that. In terms of if you're looking at street fighting, unless we're talking 19, you're not going to get into those.
Yeah, I just mean like if you're trying to simulate a fight, like just 2 people pissed off at each other, not even like we're Kimbo slicing it up here. The boxing is the furthest thing that it's gonna look like.
I don't know that it's gonna be the furthest thing because
what would you think is further?
Depending on how the fight starts, and you're almost always going to get in a couple shots, right? Like if somebody lunges at you, like either they're going to take you down, but your first reaction is probably going to be to throw a punch. I mean, so if
you're smart, you won't be throwing punches in a street fight because you don't have any gloves or wraps. If you're smart, you clinch up.
You get into a street fight.
Well, if someone has a knife or someone's like threatening your girl and you're fucked up, what are you going to do?
If someone has a knife, I would honestly rather take the boxing skills because they're probably going to try and stab me, and I'd rather hit him than
If you try punching a dude with a knife, he's just going to stab you super easily.
I mean,
if you know Krav Maga?
Yeah, you need to know Krav Maga if you want to fight someone with
that's
a
true.
knife.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're talking real street fights, I don't know why we're talking about anything that's not.
If I really wanted to defend myself, I would learn Krav Maga.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Aikido.
Oh, definitely Aikido. I'm like pissed that there aren't more Aikido gyms near Boston. Like, step your shit up. Like, get an Aikido license or something. Get some Aikido affiliation. South Shore, get some Aikido affiliation.
I bet you can probably get an online certification. Get your online black belt.
And then I can go to South Shore and I can be the Aikido instructor. And then that's another job you can add to my list. Boom. That's some disposable income right there. I forget what we were talking about. I feel like I was like, me and Pat were debating a little bit.
Well, I tried to talk about boxing, but we're not going to, so I'd like to transition again.
Okay.
It's 10:30, so the transition should be that.
Towards the end. Should be transition towards the end.
The transition.
I am doing this.
Go ahead. Transition. What's your
There
transition?
were two, count them, two amazing Japanese striking competitions this weekend. Number one was the K1 World Grand Prix.
That was amazing.
That was Japanese kickboxing. That was a lightweights. It was headlined by freaking Takaru, who was amazing. He looks so good, man. He fought this dude. I think his name is Koji. I don't even know.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Enough to know who he fought, but I watched it.
Let me interrupt
you. He was
you
doing all sorts of great stuff. I mean, he's known for just like being a nasty little gremlin and firing off hooks and punching the body and being a psycho. Also, he has the voice of an angel. If you've heard him sing, he's beautiful. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Not fair.
Yeah.
But in this fight, he was using intercepting knees really well. He was timing this dude's entries. Awesome. Otherwise, they were smanging and banging, and people who like fights like Vanderlei Silva and Brian Stan, or like Lineker Rivera, things like that, where you just stand in front of each other and smash hooks. It was like that, but good. It was the good version of that at many times, but Tucker wasn't really getting hit. He was just doing that and knocking this dude's block. And this guy, tough, survived. Great fight. Also on that card, they had obviously the Grand Prix. That was awesome. I won't talk about it. It was awesome. Watch it. And then Masaki Noiri, who is a leg kick god, smoked this dude. Hooked him to pieces. He's just an icy demon. So the K1 fights, I believe, are on YouTube. So definitely check those out if you like striking, because you don't like boxing. But even more of a real art form. Have you guys watched Knockout?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Knockout?
No.
It's Japanese Muay Thai.
Ooh.
And it might be better than K1, honestly, because it's Muay Thai and there's sweeps and such.
Yeah.
So Ryzen boy, Kaito Ono, who is like 20, 22. He's young, and just a beautiful, beautiful man. Dresses like a Final Fantasy character. I love him very much. He's a lanky boy. But yeah, he fought, and he's actually a shootboxing guy, so Muay Thai is a lot closer to his style. Yeah. And I've only watched him in kickboxing so far. He went nuts with elbows. It was amazing. He's using the short choppy ones from the plum. Sorry, not the plum. The double collar tie, what it's actually called. He was just hooking elbows all day, cut this dude open. Looked beautiful, doubling up, tripling up on leg kicks because they're fast and he's accurate. Knockout was amazing. The co-main event, this guy landed over 5 rounds, like at least 100 leg kicks. Did not even score a knockdown off that. It was incredible. Main event was less than flyweight. It was at least like 115 or something. Two young fellas warring for 5 rounds. Just really good. All that's on YouTube. I think Knockout was a Twitter stream or Periscope. One of those. You can actually watch all of that, but they're probably not going to do an event until like next month or longer than that. So you got plenty of time to watch good Japanese striking. Better than boxing, although I do like boxing.
All right, boys. I'd say that's about it from us. We just hit the hour 10 mark. I was shooting for like a 40-minute stream, but we got an hour, and I think that's pretty good.
Too bad.
That's Ed's fault. He had to rant about his transitions and stuff that nobody cared about. We lost viewers while you were talking, Ed. I hope you understand that.
We did. But so what I would like to say before we get to the plugs and we get out of here, MMA Trivia is Thursday. It's on this week. It is happening this week. It didn't happen last week because of wisdom tooth surgery was on the same day. I was in a lot of pain, so that didn't happen. I was going to say something other than that, and I just blanked, went right into the promos. I'm MMASucka, BG3R_MMA for Twitter, Instagram. I also wanted to say that you guys are you're not as supportive as I thought you would be. I didn't win the award at the award show last night. I'm blaming you guys
I
exclusively.
voted at least 100 times.
Well, I'm still blaming you guys exclusively. It was very embarrassing. I told everyone that I was going to win, and I didn't win.
Who won?
Some guy. I was kidding.
hell?
I didn't want to win. I specifically was saying I didn't want
I
to
wanted
win.
you to win.
I know you wanted me to win, but this is a whole nother conversation we might be able to get into MMA trivia, but let's go with plugs. What do you got, Pat, for plugs?
Follow me on Twitter at alldayoj, spelled like auger, AUGER. Other than that, check out MMASucka.com. I'm going to be doing a podcast here in a bit, hopefully starting soon, talking about business stuff and money.
Beautiful.
Fights. So I'll have you two boys on. We can talk about some cash, which I know Ed doesn't have. So especially based on that stocking. It's a little empty there, Ed. But other than that, I mean, that's all I got.
All right, boy. What do you got for us, Ed?
Twitter, Ed Gallo, MMA. Vimeo? Nah. Probably just Twitter.
Yeah.
Patrick, you don't want me on your podcast talking about intellectual pursuits, talking about money, talking about business. I don't know shit.
Woo! Woo! Oh, first guest booked.
If you want someone stupid on to bounce your ideas off of and look smarter, I'm your guy for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely tag along that categorization of dumb people. So
first two guests. It's gonna be great.
All right, boys. Thanks for hanging in there with us, and great weekend of fights. We're looking forward to this weekend. We got 2 Bellator fights coming up, right? We got 2 Hawaii fights, and I'm blanking. I think we got UFC Milwaukee. I got a bunch of stuff coming out this week for content wise. Look out for that, and that'll be it from us. Peace out.